What's up, YouTube? Today wasn't really feeling motivated to do anything, I'm gonna be honest. But I decided I wanted to kind of set up for a project I'm working on. It's a mini documentary about a football player at my college, or my alma mater at this point. And we're doing a few different rounds of interviews, and I kind of wanted to figure out what route I was gonna go with for the mid-season interview. And with that, I wanted to practice a little bit. The first interview was a hair light and a big key light. And that was pretty much it. We were on campus. We didn't really have a choice of spot where we were filming. I'll insert a frame of that here. But today I decided, okay, and I live pretty close to campus, so I think what we're gonna do is have our interviewee come sit here, and I'll do a setup in my apartment with the new interview setup. And this time I wanna do a double diffuse key light, which is what's going on right here. Just softer, wraps her in a little bit. It's a little bit too dark over here, so I might add a fill. It's just some really cheap poster board. But we'll see what happens in post for this test. And if I don't think I like it without the fill here, then I'll add a fill. But I wanted to use natural light. I have two pretty big windows in my apartment, so this time I wanted to use the natural light of the windows to provide kind of that backlight, hair light, and you can see it right here. It gives me my outline along my shoulder, which is nice. And I also just happen to have a lamp in that corner, that back corner, that is a different temperature, so it adds a little bit of contrast in the frame. I also plan on having my second camera further off to this side. Well, not even that farther off to this side, but a little bit farther off to the side and punched in on my face a little bit, shadow side of the face. And that might be on a motion controlled slider, so that might be going back and forth, but we didn't do that with the first one. And the slider I have is really loud, so I don't really feel like trying to get rid of that really loud humming noise in post. So that might just sit on another set of sticks to the left, or even on the coffee table I have right here because we're in my living room. So that might also just work just as well. But I'll get into my lighting setup. Right now I have a newer 5-in-1 reflector, and in the middle of that 5-in-1 reflector bag is an actual layer of diffusion. It's almost like a silk. So I figured I would put that on a couple of light stands and then double diffuse using a Angler softbox on the Amaran 200D. And that way, and the Amaran 200D, the Angler softbox with the Amaran 200D has a grid on it to kind of just keep everything on the second layer of diffusion. And it provides like a really soft light. I think it's at like 75% right now. But my apartment isn't that big, and the space that I want to shoot on isn't that big. And I didn't feel like moving my couch yet. So it's kind of in between two couches. I moved a little side table out of the way, and this is what we got. So I guess the biggest tip I could give to anybody out there who's getting into filmmaking or anything of the sort would be to practice when you don't feel like practicing. Make it a little bit of a project. In this case, I'm making it a YouTube video. I haven't made a YouTube video since like June. Just been busy finishing up my master's program and kind of figuring out job situations. But getting into the habit of even practicing for yourself or practicing for a project in your own environment. You learn how to control light, you learn how to use your camera, you learn different methods of cinematography and of videography. So in this case, really quick setup. I think this took me like 10 minutes to set up. It took me a few minutes to like kind of figure out what I wanted to do in terms of planning. And then now I know when I film this interview later this week that I can set up a certain way. I know what things I want to change. It is really handy to have access to where you're going to be filming. Obviously, if you're shooting on location, it makes things a little bit more difficult. But the practice is always good to have, and I couldn't practice it enough. But the practice is always good to have, and you can do this with quite literally anything. I mean, you see it all over YouTube with different creators doing different tests and different types of practice with product photography and product videography, different interview setups, 2-camera interview setups, and this kind of just goes to show that you can really get anything done in your own environment before you go out and do it on location or on set. So I think that's it for this one. This is gonna be really quick, really short, really sweet. I'll drop links for everything in the video that I have used. And if you guys have any questions, put it down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for coming back. And I'll try to upload a little more frequently this time. I think this is kind of like reinvigorating me to upload to YouTube. So, see you guys.